think. This one. Yeah, I just wanted to like talk about the support changes and how incredibly important they are for the role in general. It's easy to... Okay, just I'll first sum it up, then I'll talk about the fears that people have, and then I'll talk about what I'm thinking about it. So they basically remove the sightstone and shove it into the support item trees, and they remove the quests and the actives of the support items. So you build a support item, it automatically gets the sightstones after 500 gold, and you can upgrade it to the Eye of the XY series for another ruby crystal, and it gives the same stats as an upgrade sightstone before. And tier 3 has 4 wards and tier 2 has 2 wards. 3 wards, sorry. And people fear that first of all the actives are gone and they are restricted in their build pass. The second thing is that they missed the quest, and yeah, they fear that the cheese could come to bot lane. To address the first one, I want to start away with that 2 of the 3 actives are god awful. Frost Queens just came back simply because of the freaking glacial augment. Talisman is shit for knows how long, and the tank item was pretty decent, but it was really fucking expensive, so people often skipped it, just kept the Targons and went to the next item. Furthermore, this change should help with other lanes using the items, because these items should be restricted to support only. They always were, because they're extremely gold efficient, since the gold income is much lower. And this is another step for Riot to actually hinder solo laners to take them, or just take them to and make it at the same time really inefficient. About the build diversity, if you want to be good at the game, you build what's best, not what you like the most. And yeah, I think Rakan goes Oasis. Nobody's getting Talisman. Or yeah, like Spell Thieves, but nobody's getting Talisman. The thing is, build diversity doesn't exist. There will always be a tier list of items in certain circumstances. In every single circumstance, there is one item that you should build. And the actives were almost never in that situation. Like I said before, Frost Queens just came back to that situation simply because of Glacial Augment, cheese, and the active like Ruby Crystal with Ingenious Hunter, and because of no reason else, Frost Queens is and was terrible, still is on its own. So build diversity is a really poor argument, because you build what's best, not you don't change up your build because you change up the build. You want to have a strong item, you want to maximize, you want to optimize your build path, your runes, your whatever, to play at the highest level possible and to improve, not because you tried something else in terms of rune or item path. You want to improve as a player, and therefore you have to maximize everything else. So diversity is in most of the cases completely irrelevant, and considering that supports have a really large pool of viable options once you have the support item. I'm talking about Redemption into Locket or Arden or Mikhail's. I mean, the first 2 items are pretty fixed, but after that the build paths are pretty diverse, and they won't be destroyed simply because you can't build an inferior support item. Regarding the quests, that is the only thing I'm also sad about, because the quest felt really good. The Spell Thieves quest felt really good, and Targon's quest also was pretty damn decent. At the same time, I think, considering that you don't have to buy a Sightstone anymore, it's worth the trade-off. It's simply an upgrade. It's worth sacking the quest to be more slot efficient, more gold efficient, and possibly restricting the items to supports. And the last thing is that cheese will come to bot lane, or that you fall much further behind. In my opinion, not much changes in terms of dynamic, simply because 500 gold is achieved pretty quickly, and in a standard lane, nobody's getting stumped. In a standard lane, you shouldn't buy a Sightstone before you have 500 gold. You should never rush Sightstone on any support, ever. Competitive plays something different, but in solo queue you should never rush Sightstone. You should always upgrade your support item at least once, and then up for something like a ruby crystal and boots, but never instantly upgrade your Sightstone. It's just inefficient. At that early in the game, you don't need 4 wards or 5 wards, including the trinkets of your AD carry bot lane. You're just fine with trinkets and maybe a pink ward or 2 pink wards. So I don't count it either that it's changing a lot of dynamic in terms of how gankable bot lane is. I don't think that that's the case. The only thing that's the case, and that's probably something people aren't aware of yet, is that squishy supports, I'm talking about enchanters especially, will remain squishy much more longer, because even though Sightstone is not giving the full value of, I don't know, it's not giving the value of a Giant's build, but it's still quite a bit of health, considering what your HP level is. It's like a really good increase. Let me see, health value. Yeah, it's 150 HP. You have like 1000 or 1300, something like that, so it's a lot of HP, especially early. And I think that's something people underestimate just yet, that enchanters will remain much longer squishy. Yeah, okay, you tried it in the PvE, 10 minutes, 2 minutes give or take. I think that's fine as well, yeah. Firstly, yeah, you never built a Sightstone before in 6 or 7 anyways, and after that it was an option, and I think, yeah, okay, as a jungler I think you can abuse it, but I think that's just fine. It's pushing more risk into bot lane, but at the same time it's basically a buff for supports, because you don't have to spend 800 gold on an item you need to fulfill your role, and also slot spaces. Slot spaces were important. Yeah, and regarding snowballing, 500 gold, if you get stomped early, 500 gold can be quite a bit. But at the same time, I think they just diversed the 3 support items much more with that change. Look at the 3 support items. Spell Thieves requires you to trade to get gold. Oasis is whatever, and Targon's is just auto-hitting. If you get stumped in lane, nothing happens if you have the coin, and nothing happens if you have Targon. If you have Spell Thieves, it could lead to a massive underperformance of warding during mid-game, because you just take much longer. But I think the change is actually okay, simply because the reason that if you take Spell Thieves, you theoretically, I'm not saying that any Zoroark is trying to win the lane, but theoretically you want to win the lane, which means it should imply some risk. And at that certain threshold of 500 gold, I think that's a more added risk to Spell Thieves compared to the other 2 if you lose lane, because you take that item to win the lane, and if you lose the lane you deserve to be punished. as in snowballing. Also, I think it's fine that it's snowballing. In general, if you stomp bot lane, you deserve to be so far ahead in vision and take over the game. Simple as that. Because it's actually forcing people back and giving up shit to recover. And I think it's something important. Or I think that's at least okay as a change to specify the support items more with risk values, if you want to call it like that. So, and to like on a more abstract level, the change is really helpful for the role. Simply because, like I mentioned before, you don't have to spend 800 gold to build an item you need to fulfill your role. Which means it's also making the role much more attractive to non-support players, or if you get autofilled, you don't run into the issue that the support doesn't build a sightstone because he got a sightstone, which means he will ward because he doesn't have to spend money and can build his crappy shit stuff that shouldn't you build anyways. But it's a really healthy advance from the role. Coming from a really long way, considering that you had Heart of Gold, rip in peace Heart of Gold, Fiddlestone, Shurelias, and a shit ton of horses. That was, and maybe Aegis. Those items were all you had for 2 seasons straight. And then trinkets got introduced and a Sightstone, which was a really healthy change for the game in general to get more vision into the game, because I think in general the game quality has improved over all tiers simply because of more vision. Because you need, I'm not saying that everybody's using the information, but more information is creating game quality as a baseline. And this is the next step to actually get from whatever support item that you just need to generate some gold to be an actual support item, freeing up slot spaces, which is really crucial at the moment, and opening up the role to non-support mains as well. So those are my thoughts about changes. So I really welcome them. I think they're needed. Obviously not everything will be perfect, but I think it's needed and it's really damn good. Riot did a really fucking good job on the change.